Gamer Feed Radio.
What's going on, everybody out there in podcast land? This is Gamer Feed Radio. It's been a week, but we're back. We being the operative term. I'm your host, Nick Delicave, and I'm joined this evening by two usual culprits in crime. The one and only, very mysterious, Rob Pugh. What's going on, Rob?
Not much. How's it going?
I was like, oh, God. Good. It's so happy.
What?
So
no,
good.
Nothing. No.
It's good. It's good.
No,
So,
I got distracted there for a second because we just got a message from another member of our podcast, and that distracted me temporarily during your introduction.
no, that's okay because he is in fact great at distraction. More on Brad in a moment. But first, our other Wile E. Coyote super genius when it comes to all things computers. Notice the foil there. David Newman, what's up, Newman?
How's it going? Speaking of computers, I just put in a new graphics card.
Hopefully it's better than the last one.
Oh yeah, this is the 1070. The 470 was pretty good, but playing at higher resolution, I just wanted a fancier one.
I was going to say that just in numbers alone, it sounds complicated. I mean, I'm just saying it. It sounds complicated. So, speaking of Brad, who is not joining us today, I think that we've all pretty much come to the conclusion that Brad is secretly suffering from a very public case of the eye herpes, courtesy of PlayStation VR overusage. Questions, comments. What does the panel think?
I just want to point out that it's you that went there on the actual podcast and not me, so that when perhaps one of our listeners needs to explain that to some little ones, it's not my fault. I'm keeping it clean. There's no credit for that.
You can try, but that is not a response to my question.
I understand that there's like a pad you can buy now for your PSVR that like goes between you and the headset to kind of help prevent that.
Excellent. I'm sure Brad has the extra exorbitant ones, right?
Of course, you could also take the cheap route and just get some sanitary wipes.
Yeah, I feel like that would actually work better unless you get like a pack of these pads and switch it out every time somebody else uses it.
That's really
I'm not sure if they make them to be disposable.
Bad when you say it that way. It really sounds gross when you say it like that, Newman.
Doesn't it defeat the purpose if like it's the same pad on there though?
Doesn't it kind of...
That's a fair point, but then there's no reason for you to buy another one. See, that's where they get you.
See, this genius right here.
It's all about selling the razor blades, kids, and keeping your face healthy.
Something. So what about, though, the thing about the like wipes is that they're all alcohol-based, so you would think that over time the alcohol would dry out and cause the padding that is inside the VR headset to disintegrate, right?
Probably cause some wrinkles, too.
Oh, my God. It's all true. Well, anyway, everybody, we are thrilled to have you here on episode 89 of the podcast. I know I feel like we've been doing this forever, and we're only at 89, but there's so many reasons for that, all of which we can't explain in the short time we have with you this evening. But what we can tell you is all the great places you can check us out, which, of course, is on Twitter, at GamerFeed Radio on the Facebooks. GamerFeedRadio.com has all the shows posted. YouTube, you should subscribe. All the shows are posted there as well. And we can be listened to all around the world on your favorite pod streaming service. Most notably iTunes, and of course, everybody is on iHeartRadio, so we encourage you to check us out there. Today, we've got some pretty interesting topics to cover with everybody. But because, we never tell you before we actually do it what they are, tonight's no different. So I'm just going to go ahead and jump right in with the save point theme. Brief save point this evening where we talk about the games we've been playing recently, and there are many games that we've all been playing, and collectively, so we can actually have a very interesting dialogue about said games. So we will begin out of order, because you guys know how I like to screw with the agenda. Skyrim. Rob, Newman, thoughts on Skyrim?
I haven't touched it yet.
Really?
So this is gonna be all. Yeah, I told you.
Oh, I don't pay
I've
attention.
been saying
you buy so many games, I don't even know.
Clearly not.
I was actually just playing it before we started.
So tell us all about your impressions overall at its remasteredness.
Well, all of the animations are still really terrible in it.
Of course.
It looks better. The lighting is much improved. Other than that, it's just like the official high-quality texture pack that they put out for PC like 5 years ago.
Interesting. So, anything other than that? I mean, does it play better? Is it crash still crazy weird in certain spots? Any weird things from before that have persisted, or no?
Not that I've noticed, but there's also the unofficial patch that was available day one, so that you didn't have to wait for them to fix anything.
Excellent. So then in terms of playingness, totally worth your time, great nostalgic flashback, but you're over it, or it was pure genius, I can't wait to see the HD version in 4K?
Well, I play in 1440p, so that's about 2K, but I've never actually completed the game because this one doesn't crash. Well, the original crashed a lot anytime you modded it wrong. This one does not, so I'm actually going to be able to make it through a playthrough, hopefully.
Sweet. Well, that topic turned out to be a bust, so I'm glad we started with it first. No, I'm kidding.
I'm really excited to play it. It's just that I'm not going to start it until I've got like 2 months free, and right now there's still way too many games coming out, so yeah. I'm saving it for last.
That's right. I do vaguely recall now that you said
January or February. I've said it at least 3 times on this podcast. You just don't listen to me at all.
ADHD is a blessing and a curse. Good. Okay, so it's out there. We look forward to February, seeing if you can confirm or deny Newman's approach to the overall review, his opinion of the Skyrim Remastered. And for those of you that are super obsessed with the game, good on you. Next up is Titanfall 2. Rob, I'll let you start, since I know that you're playing this one, faux show.
Well, I beat it like over a week and a half ago now. I really enjoyed it, though.
Yeah?
I really enjoyed it, though. The single player, obviously that was the big thing that people were looking at going into this one, since the first one was multiplayer only. So it's like, hey, now they're adding the single player, which is what kind of people wanted, and a little bit more going on in the multiplayer, since last time around the general feeling was that people were playing for the multiplayer, which is what all it was, and then they'd run out of things to do, and the install base just kind of petered off. So this time around, there's the single-player campaign, which I really enjoyed. I've been playing so many shooters lately. I went from with some minor interruptions, I went from Destiny into Titanfall 2 into Infinite Warfare into now Modern Warfare. So I'm kind of not shootered out yet, but I have a lot of stuff bouncing around in my head about the genre in general. And what I appreciate after collating all this playtime. About Titanfall 2 is that I enjoy that it's a kind of a solo experience. It's not too dense. It's not a corridor shooter. You've kind of got some open spaces to where you have some options, a lot of options really, with the movement systems in the game, between the double jump and the wall running and all of that. The environments are nice and big because they're designed to be done. Most places you can do either on foot or in your Titan. So everything's designed for that. So if you're running around on foot, you're running through these big, vast areas, and then you jump in your Titan, all of a sudden everything kind of scales down. But I enjoyed that, especially after playing COD the last week or so. I enjoy that Titanfall is a solo experience in that you don't have squad mates running in front of you, and potentially ducking into your line of fire, and then you get they get shot and they die, and you get sent back to the last save point with a message that says friendly fire will not be tolerated.
In other words, you just you're trigger happy and you need to work on that.
No, it's people wander in front of me while I am shooting the bad guys in the face.
Yep, you're trigger happy.
They should be more mindful of that.
Yep, that's not going to ever happen.
But no, Titanfall. The best thing about Titanfall, I mean, I think it stands up pretty well on its own as a shooter. You add in the fact that it's got the multiple modes because it's a different kind of shooter on foot than it is in a Titan. Since you've got so many more movement options when you're on foot. But then you add on top of that kind of just some of the level design in there. To where now, how far are you in the campaign, Nick?
Oh, I don't even know. But I certainly haven't beaten it, and that's just because I've been traveling a lot for work, which is why we didn't have a podcast last week, really.
Okay. So probably not much farther than the last time we talked.
I don't know where I'm at in it.
How much do we care about spoilers?
We don't. Well, okay. I mean, I care, but...
Spoiler alert in the next 30 seconds here, guys.
Yeah. Because I've been listening to a lot of other podcasts this week, and like everybody's like worried about spoiling anything for anybody that wants to play the game. And I would argue at this point that the ship has kind of sailed on that, unfortunately, because the sales weren't anywhere near what they deserved to be. So people had a chance to play the game, and many people opted not to. So I'm not sure how conscious we need to be about spoilers. But for whatever the case, if you want to throw out the effect now,
I already did.
Cool. The really cool thing about the single-player campaign is that they add in a lot of mechanics. Aside from the movement and the Titan and all of that fun stuff, they add in just basic mechanics in the actual levels that make it more like a platformer, or something like something you might see in like a mascot platformer, where you have like a device that gets you through a level, like one per level sort of thing. So the things that you run into in the Titanfall 2 campaign that are really cool is you have this one level where time jumping is.
I love that level.
That was fantastic. I love that so much. But you have this device on your wrist where you can jump back and forth between these two fixed places in time.
So you're working your way.
Yeah. So you're working your way through this facility, going through the present where everything's destroyed, and the past where it's still a thriving facility, and you use that for progression, because there will be doors that are shut, so you jump to the other time period and you go through the door, or there are raging fires in the present and there are pits, and you go back to the past and you can traverse that. So you jump back and forth to kind of work your way through the level. But the really cool thing about that too is just kind of the way things play out sometimes, to where you're in the past and you shoot somebody because you're working your way through this installation, and by virtue of you being there, you set off the security alerts. So now everybody's converging on you. So in the present, there are wild animals that have come into this facility after the fact and kind of taken it over, and they're living in there now. And back in the past, it's the security personnel that were still alive back then before the facility got ruined. So if you're in the past and you shoot somebody and you jump back to the future, all of a sudden their body spawns there on the ground where it wasn't there before, because now you've killed them, so that's where they died. But it's a really cool level. I really enjoyed that. There's one, I think before that just a really cool platforming level where you're kind of working your way through this kind of modular town as it's being built. Everything is like prefab houses and everything, cool. And they're attaching all this stuff together onto these like slabs of earth that eventually all get put together in the right order up on top, and that's basically they're mass producing a planet for all intents, a colony on this world that they're terraforming or whatever. And there's some cool platforming challenges with that as you're working your way up through it, and you're the things that you're on will kind of twist and turn as you go. So sometimes you're on the ceiling and sometimes you're on the wall. You're running on the wall and all of that, and which is really cool. There's another level later on where the gimmick is you have this device that kind of powers on these fans, throughout the level that you have to use for traversal, where you're turning them off before you can jump in front of them. Otherwise, they'll blow you out of the way. Only sometimes you need to use that to get past certain walls and everything. So there's, again, they kind of use it as kind of a environmental puzzle solving as you work your way through these levels. That's really cool. And the best thing about all of these is that they kind of work you into them gently, and then by the end of the level, you're wall running across this gap, shooting at things, and then activating the fan in front of you, or turning off the fan in front of you on the fly, so that you can keep progressing. And everything's all about continuing to move. And it's just really cool.
Yeah, I'm generally aside from the fact that I really enjoyed the beta, which was only multiplayer. I was looking forward to the campaign. I really like the campaign. I got the soundtrack because the music's great. It's immersive. The graphics are fantastic. The level design is very clever. The mechanics that they use are varied, so you don't feel like there's an enormous amount of repetition, but there's enough repetition that it has that FPS adventure, feel to it that's really good. I obviously haven't beaten it yet, but like you said, the time travel mechanic, the house prefab thing, that was a really smart level. The design overall really is quite good. And there's little things to do along the way and collectibles. The graphics are fantastic. It's one of those games that it's just really good and solid all around. Now, of course, I'm a multiplayer person, so I really like the multiplayer, and I think I said this on a previous show, but it bears repeating. It's not Call of Duty spawn, die, spawn, die, spawn, die. There is a time to kill.
I still think it's pretty quick, though.
Well, skill has something to do with that. I'm kidding. But it's fun. You're moving quickly. You have a chance to get away. You can run. You can hide. You can, different... you can go stealth for a little while, and you can throw your grenade, or you can do some. It just works, and the maps are really.
You have a lot of options because of the traversal. Because about halfway through the match, in depending on mode, everybody has a chance to call their Titan in, which is one of the things they fixed since the first weekend of the beta was. The first week of the beta, being able to call your Titan was based on kills. So basically, get good, or you're going to be doing a lot of running around on foot. And then they changed that for the second weekend for the final release, so that it's a timer, it's a static timer that gets sped up by kills. So everybody still has a chance to call in their Titan once per match, and then you can use that for defending control points, or just going on the offensive or whatever. Having your Titan brings in a lot of other options to it too.
Yeah. I totally agree with you. It's a kind of a shame that it came out in between Battlefield 1 and Call of Duty on such a tight release schedule, because I think it does the game a little bit of a disservice in terms of people spending their dollars. But I got an email just the other day, just from some random site that I guess some Lifetime gave my email address, and they're like, Titanfall 2, buy it now for $35. I was like, what?
Yeah, it's on it. It and Battlefield are already on sale for kind of pre-Black Friday stuff.
Exactly. So you know what though, it is an outstanding game, and everybody should go out there and pick it up, especially if it's discounted, just because of how good it is.
$35, definitely worth it.
Yeah, it's a short jaunt. You can do it real quick in and out, and it's a quality experience. Very, very, very well done. Hats off to them. I can't wait to finish the campaign, enjoy the multiplayer until Final Fantasy 15 comes out later this month, and then no one will see me online ever again. So, I know that there are other games that we have played that we could discuss, but we do have a feature topic, and I do want to make sure that we reserve plenty of time, and it ties very nicely, Rob, into a couple of other games that you've been playing, so I'm sure that you'll have some interesting feedback. So we're going to go ahead and jump right into today's feature topic, which is remakes. Why? And the laughing is totally deliberate. moments while the music is fading out, you know, what's the deal with remakes? I hear doors and moving and screaming. That's always terrifying.
Yeah, I kind of miss Newman's headset mic. He'll be back. Oh, is he still here?
Oh, I'm still.
I
yeah,
thought
I'm
that was
still
him
here.
leaving. Okay.
I thought he was pulling a Brad and go check out his amiibo dealer.
No, my
Or
girlfriend
see
just
his
got home.
doctor, as the case with Brad now.
Yeah, right. Can you please help?
Yeah.
I don't understand why this is happening to my eyes.
Just as long as we've got this break here, I do want to bring up one other thing before we get to the feature topic. Is the new Overwatch character finally came out?
Oh yeah, Sombra.
Sombra.
Yeah, I
pretty
saw your
cool.
little video that you put up the other day on the Facebook live feed. On our Facebook page, you should go. It's Newman playing, and you should harass him incessantly. Yeah, I saw you play. What were your thoughts on it?
It'll take some time to get used to playing with her in like real games, but she seems pretty cool. She's got an invisibility which speeds her up a little bit, and then she can also disable other players' abilities.
Interesting. Well, it's good on the invisible speed up thing because sometimes when you spawn in and you get to the place where everybody's fighting and you die and you have to run 16 hours to get there, that sucks.
Right.
That's like the biggest flaw, in my opinion, for the game. But good. I look forward to you becoming an expert so that you can wreck all the peoples.
Well, as soon as she becomes available on the main server, right now it's just the test server.
Well, I mean, I don't even know what that means, but okay. So remakes. For the love of God, why? It could be argued, I think, that there have been some really good remakes. So maybe we should start with the ones that are good, because there are some really good shining examples of quality remakes. One in particular that sticks out to me that fairly recent was Legend of Zelda Wind Waker HD. Great game, fixed some of the mechanics, awesome graphics, update. Got rid of the stupid chests of Doom thing that really sucked. Overall, really good and positive experience. That, to me, I think is a good example of a remake, only because of the quality of the output. All games do not fare so well, but that was just one that stuck out in my mind as a quality one.
In that case, they took the time to they took the opportunity to fix some things, like by putting in the speed sale.
Mm-hmm.
So, and you know, Nintendo doesn't really go back and change a whole lot with their games, but still, that was definitely something that everybody was like, "Look, this is a problem."
I don't have this kind of time, man.
Yeah, so they added in the speed sale. They took out some of the individual Triforce pieces that you need to find in the final portion of the game, so you're not running around and finding 8 of them. You only have to find 3.
Yeah, 8 suck.
Or find 7 of them and give up on the last one and never touch the game again.
Sounds like someone is still butthurt about that.
But that's but I mean that's an example of, you know, using the opportunity to its fullest. And the reasoning I think behind that was, you know, they kind of knew that at that point that our next Zelda is going to be a while out. We might as well put something out there just to keep the franchise's name out there.
Right.
When they knew that what was going to become Breath of the Wild was still a ways out, and then when it was still a ways out, and Wind Waker had already been out for a while, it's like, well, let's try again with Twilight Princess, which they didn't change quite so much.
Right. Well, it didn't really need a whole lot of changing, to be honest.
Not really, no, because it was, you know, well, I guess it was only 3 years newer, but still.
Right.
Amiibo support, because that's a thing now, yay. I think that was really about it.
What does it even mean in a single-player game?
What
What, remake?
do you mean?
No, amiibo support.
They added in the ability to it was an extra, if I'm remembering correctly, Ganondorf scanned in would double the amount of damage that you took, basically adding a hard mode, an additional hard mode. Because of that, they added in the Lynx would give you more hearts, and Zelda would give you more arrows to kind of help you out with that hard mode and with the the dungeon they added in a challenge dungeon where you play through as Wolflink that was activated by the Wolflink amiibo, which at the same time you could kind of train up your Wolflink amiibo so that like as you'd progress through the dungeon, like it would save your progress back onto the Wolflink amiibo, and then they're using that in Breath of the Wild. Whether that was forward or backward thinking.
The Wolflink thing is kind of cool, but the hard mode that just seems like it should be just a normal feature of the game.
It's called DLC, Newman. DLC.
It was actually when they did the remake, they put in the same kind of hard mode that they did with when did they start doing that? Skyward Sword? I think that was it. Mm-hmm. They added in an actual hard mode with Skyward Sword, and then which is still in Twilight Princess, and then on top of that, if you wish, you can also have your hearts. So it's basically super hard mode.
So there. But that's an example, I think, of a really good remake that I think worked well. It had some really cool features. They fixed some stuff that was definitely broken, and it was gorgeous. Just stunning visuals in that really cool cartoon Link art style, which has definitely grown on people over the years. So, not to just belabor the point, but is there an example of a really bad remake? I'm sure you both have thoughts on several of them. I wanted to keep it positive, so I'll leave you guys to the negative part.
I'm going to go with Resident Evil 4.
Remake?
I've been playing that, the remastered one, the HD version.
Mm-hmm.
And here's my big complaint on it, is when it came out, it was sort of, I guess, towards the beginning of the using two sticks, so they didn't really implement that much. So you're moving around, like forward, backward, and then also turning with one joystick, and there's not a setting to use the other joystick to turn.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, and it's just like, it's really hard to try to control your character and continue walking in a curve instead of just a stop and turn and then move.
So, but visually, I mean, was it visually good, or?
Yeah, it's visually good. They added in a decapitation animation that I don't remember from the original, where if a zombie sneaks up behind you, he can rip your head off.
Oh, well, that's always pleasant.
So yeah. I just wish I could, actually walk around in it.
How dare you ask for so much, sir, out of your games? Insane.
So is that a matter of I don't really have an artful way to add this in, but
that's never stopped you before.
Well, clearly it's not going to either. That's true. The movement issues are true to the original game, though. So perhaps then the argument is that it fails as a remake because it didn't take the opportunity to fix something that doesn't hold up under against modern games. Yeah.
And it was not something difficult. It was a control issue. It wasn't like they had to go in and rewrite any of the game or anything. It's just a control setting they needed to add.
Yeah. But still, then, by the same token, I'm sure, people like to hate on stuff. And I'm sure no matter what they did, somebody would say, well, either you didn't fix it or you should have changed that.
Right.
Which is the same thing. You shouldn't have changed that, or you should have fixed that.
Wow, that's...
No.
I
don't know.
Too much thinking.
Let's move on.
Too much thinking. So, remakes as a concept, okay? They happen. People do them. I mean, there's obvious business justification, especially for a beloved franchise or something that was a blockbuster hit, and people have kind of been begging for it, which happens with many, many games. I mean, does that really justify a remake? Is it, just a ploy, to make a sale, or do you guys think that, it's genuine in its attempt for fan service or whatever?
Well, I don't know about I don't know that anyone ever makes at the risk of sounding cynical, which would be a first for me.
No,
I know
it wouldn't. No.
I can't see. I mean, games are a business from the publisher's standpoint. So I can't see anyone being altruistic enough to remake a game just because there's a fan outcry for it. Now, that being said, if there's a fan outcry for it, they have a pretty good indication they can make money off it. But still, no one's going to make it unless they've got that, they've got that baked in. Like, okay, not only do people want this, but enough people want it to make this profitable for us. So I think there are a number of reasons why companies will put out remakes. If they're, it presents an opportunity if it's available for the first time on a new console, which we saw with a lot of things like GTA 5, like Final Fantasy 14, to where you've got, well, I guess those were just ports, not remakes. Sorry.
But the point is well taken.
Yeah. But if you have an opportunity to put something on a new console, like the BioShock collection that just came out, they prettied up the graphics, they added in some new things, some trophy support. It's an opportunity for people to buy things again. And they've got the code all taken care of. It's not that much of an investment on their part, on 2K's part. I would argue that I think what we're seeing a decent amount of this year is putting out remakes for the sake of kind of maintaining the franchise. Absolutely no fans, and I'm a fan. Nick, you know this because you always crap for it. But I'm a fan of the Assassin's Creed series. Absolutely nobody, myself included, was asking for the Ezio trilogy. Because they'd already done that before. They'd already done a remake of those games on, I think, last year.
Newman, you're like in an air tunnel.
Yeah, I think unless they add, universal backwards compatibility, which there's no reason they shouldn't do that on consoles, you're going to keep getting these remakes, and you need to add, graphic settings for it.
No, what I was saying was...
How's Jet Engine doing over there, Newman? Jesus.
Rob's dithering on this line of minutia, and as he's talking, your microphone kept getting louder and louder and louder. It was like... I mean, literally, it sounded like you were standing in front of an airplane jet engine. So you're not allowed to be quiet for too long? This is your warning. You can't be quiet for too long because your mic is going to pick up all the background noise from the airport.
Pick up the fan.
Oh,
so
to finish the point,
yes,
no one was asking for the Assassin's Creed Ezio collection, which is coming out next week. The only reason I think they're putting it out is because they don't have a new Assassin's Creed game this year, and for an annualized franchise for them,
that's my.
At first, I think that. I think at first they thought they could get away with it. They're like, okay, we need to rest the franchise. We don't need to put one out this year. And then it became, well, we need to rest the franchise. We do have Watch Dogs coming out this year. So that can maybe take its place. And then I think they kind of got scared. They're like, well, we should probably still put out an Assassin's Creed thing. And hence we got the AC Ezio collection, which is... They've already put out before. They already had it in a collected form. It's just, up-res the graphics and, shoot it out. And now they're putting it out on the same day as Watch Dogs 2. They're doing the same thing that EA did with Battlefield and with Titanfall, to where they're competing against themselves with a very similar game design. So we'll see how that goes.
Now it's a movie tie-in, though.
Oh, my God. See, this to me, and this is a perfect example of why... people get sick of remakes, because when you make it in lieu of the next big iteration or the next story or the next piece, see, that to me, that's where it gets cheap and random. Now, that's not to say that development times don't change, or you promise you're going to get something out and there's a big delay. I mean, those kinds of things happen, and then you're like, all right, because we really screwed up, because we are generous and benevolent gaming lords, we will go ahead and put out a remake of this in the next 2 months because it's Final Fantasy 15 and it's going to take 10 years to come out. But that to me is not what you should be doing with a remake, because what it does is, in my view anyway, first of all, it cheapens the value of the franchise. you're exploiting my wallet by trying to make me feel good about a shitty business decision that you made. And
Explicit.
it does not. No, F-bombs are really the line according to FCC guidelines. Anyway, but that to me, you should know that the FCC censored you.
I do know that. I'm thinking of the poor children listening in Andy's car.
I know. Well,
I'm kind of sad that Ezio trilogy is not coming to PC.
Don't be sad because it's a crap
I haven't
game.
played through it.
Crap game. Crap.
Shouldn't it still be on Steam from the last time they did it? Because they released it on PS3 360, I thought. The same collection.
I don't see it as a collection.
Oh my god, seriously, if you end up buying that, you are lame. Lame. Beyond lame, because it is Ubisoft. It can't hold up over time. It can't. It's just not possible.
They release
I don't
the same
understand.
game every year with a different skin on it. What do you mean it's not holding up?
That's my point. Because if it was actually something decent, it would actually iterate in a way that was meaningful instead of another reason to totally screw your wallet.
Remakes contributing to franchise fatigue is his point.
Exactly. And that's why I think when we get to Are We Sick of...
Whereas Newman's point is people are buying it so they can sell it.
I understand, and I'm not saying that
So they do.
The general, lemming population...
Utter silence. What the hell?
What?
Are you guys still on the call?
Yes. Yeah. Apparently Rob is having microphone issues. We're all still
I
here.
didn't change a damn thing.
Oh, you heard me there.
Yeah.
Well, at least you came back when it was the most important. But anyway, no, I mean, to me, I think that's the issue that I have with it, right? Remakes to me in that way are not... It shouldn't be the intention to fill a stopgap like that. It should be it should be like bonus content or something that lets you wax nostalgic in a great new way on the equipment that you currently have, and I'll get it to you at a discount, or I'll put it in a collection and charge you the price of what the original one standalone game would have been. Something that makes it feel like it's a value or a deal to me, that it's worth my time. Not, well, we're going to throw this out there and remake it because I'm just going to put the thing on hold for a year because I think everybody's worried about it. That's BS. It's all a money grab. And then the lemmings go out there with their wallet, take my money, man. Brad's the first one in line, take my money. And it doesn't work long term.
Anyway. Yeah, that I think is the one of the keys to this here is the recency with remakes. Because, something like, Skyrim gets away with 5 years because people love that game. And because they're adding in all the DLC, and you've got mod support on consoles.
You feel like you're getting a deal.
You've got mod support on consoles if you have an Xbox One.
Well, good
and there's
for those
a
idiots.
couple of things on PS4 if you care about that. But still, though, I mean, as a whole, as a remastered collection, it's still a pretty good deal.
Yeah.
Modern Warfare, people were over the moon about because it's been 10 years since they played it. Probably not fully 10 years, but it's been a long time since people played it. It looks a lot prettier. And because in this case, the series has gone so far from those roots that it really is nostalgic because people are like, the games don't feel like this anymore.
Well, but
this was the series at its best. I will give you money.
So,
unfortunately, they decided to turn around and use it for a cynical purpose, which is we're going to sell it to only the people that order Infinite Warfare because we're afraid that
nobody wants to play
won't
it.
Buy. Yeah.
Which
is a shame because
Farming Simulator 17 has more players on Steam right now than Infinity Warfare.
Well, see, that's another issue because they kind of screwed the pooch with their PC support on that because anything that was sold through the Windows Store doesn't talk to anything that's sold through Steam.
Yep.
So they were handing out refunds left and right for the ones that were sold through the Windows Store because there was nobody for them to play with.
Yep. So much for one console, one device, or whatever the hell that stupid thing is. But it actually brings up, Rob, the next, I think, really good, legitimate topic, which is remakes as a ploy to buy newer games in a franchise, and does that work? Well, clearly it does because everybody wanted the remastered Modern Warfare, and since you have ordered the game...
Well, except that sales were down 50% over Black Ops 3 last year.
Well, but I think largely because of the problems that you mentioned, and also because, and I don't think this should be a shock to us or to Activision, although they'll claim shock, is that you changed the game fundamentally. It's not Black Ops 3 was futuristic elements in a modern feeling world, where Infinite Warfare is straight up sci-fi Destiny competitor. I mean,
I disagree with that.
I don't disagree.
Really disagree with that.
I don't disagree with that at all.
Have you played the game?
No, but if you look at the stupid trailers, the point is it's the worst rated trailer of all time because people are like, this isn't the game I want.
Well, the trailers don't do it justice. In some respects, this is a lot more traditional. Infinite Warfare is a lot more traditional than Black Ops 3 is, because Black Ops 3 was very much trying to be Destiny in that you've got these supers, which I felt kind of made talking specifically about the campaign, because I didn't play a whole lot of multiplayer on Black Ops 3. But Black Ops 3 was trying to be Destiny in that you've got these supers that you can swap out and choose whichever one you want. That kind of is an alternate attack that made things a lot more different.
Yes, but I'm on planet Earth, sister.
Infinite Warfare, I would argue, is a lot more straightforward combat, although they're going for something different with it this time around. It's more about the different modes, about the 0G sequences, the on the ground, and the spaceship sequences.
Space battle.
Yes.
It's stupid.
But
nobody wants Call of Duty for that.
Well, I mean that may be fair, and people may not want that, but I'm not. It's not. I don't think it's as bad as it looked when you actually play it.
Well, clearly,
I
people disagree.
I appreciate what they were trying to do, because I mean, ultimately there was a lot of scuttlebutt ahead of time about how they wanted it to be like World War II, except that it's not a World War II shooter; it's a space shooter.
Right.
But there's a lot of stuff related to the space that honestly are a lot of fun. They do shake things up a little bit, but ultimately, when it comes right down to it, it is in a lot of ways as though you were playing. I mean, they could reskin this as a World War II game and it would still work, because it's about you and your crew based on the carrier going out on flight missions, going out on on missions on the ground with your Marines, and accomplishing whatever objectives you have, like Call of Duty always is.
I don't know. I mean, if you look at that and then you look at a game like Battlefield 1, or you look at a game like Titanfall, or you look at a game like Destiny, which they're really all sort of kind of in the same ilk, I just think that people who want a more visually classic Call of Duty feel are going to go towards Battlefield 1. And I think that's probably the case, considering it's been a huge blockbuster success for EA. And there's so many things now competing in the futuristic sci-fi space that people are sick of it. That's why I think Battlefield 1 had such appeal, even though I think it's a controlled disaster.
Well, I mean, I felt that way at first too, when it was coming out, because I'm like, okay, Titanfall is a space shooter, Infinite Warfare is a space shooter, but actually I haven't gone through and played both of them now. I appreciate the nuances there to where they do feel like two different games.
Yeah, but
they're not trying to do the same thing. As we said, Titanfall is a lot more. It's a solo experience. It's a lot more about the platforming and about the gadgets that you have and all of that. Whereas Infinite Warfare is the same old squad-based thing that it always is, where you're following. You're glued to somebody's ass and they're telling you where to go and all that, and go plant that thing on the wall there and all of that. It is in that respect classic Call of Duty, or at least modern Call of Duty.
Well, that's why I won't be playing that game, because it doesn't even sound fun. But and that's why 50% of the people who would normally be all about it aren't. And I hope that's a big lesson to Activision, that they're, look, I'm not going to knock Activision. I'll give them this point. I'm not going to knock them for being willing to try something different, because I like that. That part doesn't bother me. I think it's when, even if it's perception for many folks, especially younger ones who are big COD fans, perception is reality. So when I see something that doesn't look like Call of Duty, it isn't. It doesn't matter.
That's ultimately...
Yeah.
And that is ultimately where we ended up on this one, was people looked at it, said it didn't look like Call of Duty, they weren't interested, they didn't order it, and that's fair.
Yeah.
It plays a lot better than it looks. It's a lot more. It's more traditional in some ways than it looks, because it looks like they're trying to do not Destiny, but it looks like they're trying to do Mass Effect. And to be fair, they are trying to do Mass Effect 2 here. It's exactly what they're doing, right down to all of your squad mates die at the end. Spoilers, including yourself.
That's okay. I'm never going to play it, so I don't care.
But I mean, ultimately, I don't think the single-player experience changed all that much. The problem is the multiplayer experience didn't change at all, and that's why this has such a stink over it right now.
Yep.
Because the people that buy it for the multiplayer experience, which is just about everybody, I'm in the vast minority here.
Which is classic you.
Yeah. But I mean, the people that did buy it for the multiplayer are like, this is exactly the same thing I played last year. This is Battlefield. This is Black Ops 3 all over again. And, that's probably pretty fair.
Yeah. Well, and I enjoyed the campaign. So
in this case,
it's
not changing that was the problem. Not changing that was the problem.
I don't know, because again, I think that's the perception. And unfortunately, the perception persisted through purchase. That's a lot of P's. But the point is...
there's another one.
I know. The point is that, I think that more people were interested in buying the game because they were going to get the remastered version of Modern Warfare than they were the actual game itself. And I'd be willing to bet that if you did a customer survey and you asked people, and they probably have already done this, what was your primary reason for purchase? They would say, because I wanted the remastered version of a really great game.
I would be curious to see the numbers on that once they come out.
And I think it would be foolish of Activision, foolish of them, to not sell the remastered version separately at a future date, especially given the non-success sales-wise of Infinite Warfare.
And I fully expect they will, but the problem is that it would have been even worse if they hadn't bundled it in.
Well,
bundling it in this case, but in this case, bundling it in was not a cynical way to. I mean, it was a sound business decision.
No, it was still cynical because they knew they created a crap game. That's like saying, I know this cake is going to taste bad, so I'm going to put icing on it so that you don't think that it's going to taste bad. The cake still tastes like crap. So,
yeah, but you were going to put icing on it anyway.
Well, yeah, but that doesn't mean that it's the right thing to do.
No, eating a cake without icing is the wrong thing to do.
Oh, well, that I totally agree. But my point is, though, when you expect that when you bite into it that you're getting cake, and instead you get something significantly subpar. Oh, my God. Aunt Edna's fruitcake. But I think that's the kind of thing that makes me angry about the whole, let's bundle it in remake. It makes you feel like you're getting a, quote, deal, because you're getting this really great tie-in, and it's a game that everybody really liked. But if even in spite of that, the sales are down 50%, it didn't work. It's a failure. And that's in large part because they released a game that they knew people wouldn't like. They had to focus group the crap out of that concept. They had to get warnings that this might not have been a good idea or is a little bit too far a departure conceptually, perhaps not mechanically, from what people are expecting us to do. But hey, we know EA is coming out with Battlefield and we don't want to run up against that. I mean, I would have gone toe-to-toe with them. Competition is the spice of life. So, I don't know. I just feel like trying to, put lipstick on it obviously failed miserably for them if those sales numbers hold, and they'll spin it off and sell it separately because they'll have to recoup their losses, and then hopefully they create a game that everybody actually really wants to play, which is the kind of Call of Duty people really like. And I also think, though, to your point earlier, Rob, about Assassin's Creed, there's franchise fatigue, big time, with Call of Duty. So,
I absolutely agree that that's going to be the case.
Yeah.
Hopefully they can stem, because I mean there've already been obviously with this year with the sales being down, they're on a downward trend, and people are the pundits out there, the YouTube pundits, not political ones, are saying that this series has peaked and it's gone its way down. We'll see how things go next year with Sledgehammer. The rumor is that they're going back to Vietnam, which is what everyone says they want. Now, when it actually comes down to it, I'm curious as to whether people are actually on track with what they actually want.
That's interesting.
Because like some bald people on this podcast that said, when it comes right down to it, I don't like Battlefield because it's too kind of old school, simple.
It's all control based. The controls are janky.
Well, but I mean, like I think modern gamers have gotten used to some of the things that come with, not everything needs to have wall running on it.
Agreed.
Like Infinite Warfare did not need wall running in the multiplayer or in the single player, because they didn't really build a whole lot of environments to where it was necessary.
Right.
It was just something that you could do because that's something that you can do now. Well, it's just good, because they added in last time. They're staying the course on that. But still, I mean, I think that to some extent, gamers are used to the double jump and things like that. I just started playing Modern Warfare today, and getting used to playing something without a double jump is a little bit weird at first, because I'm so used to it from Destiny, from Titanfall 2, from Infinite Warfare, that not being able to double jump is a little bit weird at first. I'm still getting used to it.
Yeah.
But I mean, there are a lot of bells and whistles and fancy tech and all that stuff in these more recent games that I think people would genuinely miss if it went away, and we went back to something nice and stripped down like Vietnam.
Well, we'll see what happens with Activision in 2017, because with Destiny 2 launching next fall, in theory,
if it does,
which we'll see,
yeah.
That'll put them in a very difficult position, because that game will have a lot of hype around it.
Well, I still argue that it's a completely different thing, but whatever.
It may be, but it is what it is. So then, I guess, just general impressions of remakes as we've experienced them. It could be good or bad. I'm just curious, especially, Rob, given your situation where you obviously got both, and like you said, now it's an adjustment and all that. I mean, you obviously feel like it was worth your money, right? I mean, it was a good investment for you. You're enjoying the experience with it, and I think a lot of people would find that to be the case, right?
Yeah, I would think so. But I mean, like in this particular case, like I said, I don't think Infinite Warfare is as bad as everyone feared it was going to be when it comes right down to it. I mean, it was Modern Warfare that put me over the top and made me order it. But having played through Infinite Warfare and enjoyed it, and now playing through Modern Warfare and enjoying it, that's a lot of stuff there when it comes right down to it. Because you got a campaign for both games, you got multiplayer for both games, you got zombies with Infinite Warfare. That's a lot of stuff to do for $80.
That's true.
Plus the other stuff coming down, the usual post-launch stuff with the map packs and all that stuff that I don't really get into because I don't play multiplayer on COD that much. But I mean, I think it's a lot of content for your money. So even just the normal one, and I think I'm pretty sure I mentioned this last time we were talking about the direction that Activision was going with COD and how they're kind of getting to a point where they're turning out the same game every year. But still, I mean, by virtue of the fact that they've got a zombies mode in there, even though they are trying to change it up, but basically it's a horde survival mode in each game, even if it's made by one of the different studios now. Mm-hmm. It's not just a unique to one of them. It's not just a unique to Treyarch thing. It's an everybody thing. That's still one more whole mode for you to go through and play with your friends, and got all the trophies to go with it too, and all that stuff too. So it's only adding value.
I mean, I guess. Newman, what's your take on remakes as a concept in general, et al.?
Concept in general, it's okay. Like in Skyrim, they did a lot. Well, they put it into a 64-bit engine, which actually helps it run better. And I mean, with the community around it still being active, it's a great thing. For some other games that don't run as well as they should with as much time has passed, like Gears of War, and they're still charging you $30 for it. That's kind of, I mean, come on.
Well, hopefully with your new graphics card, it'll play well on your system the next time you decide to live stream it.
Fingers crossed.
I'll be watching with great anticipation.
Yeah, I'll probably test it out on my Twitch channel before I try to do it on Facebook.
Yeah, and check those mic balance levels, because the music's really loud and your voice is this tiny Mickey Mouse whisper in the distance, but you're there.
Yeah.
I meant to give you that feedback the other. Yeah, I meant to give you that feedback the other day, but because when you popped on, every time you pop on, I get a stupid notification on my phone. I'm like, ooh, I have to watch, and And I'm always like, oh, I can't hear him. And I feel like if I comment and say I can't hear you, then everybody can see that. So I just let it go. But anyway, check those mic levels, sir. But no, I mean,
Will do.
I think the moral of the story.
In Overwatch, it was like that?
Oh, yeah, in both. It's loud,
Oh.
hiya, and all those other sounds. And then you're in the background going, I'm pretty sure that everyone can hear me talking right now. I don't know if you can hear that, but that's kind of what it sounds like.
Idiot.
It's the truth. If you guys, I haven't had any sleep in 2 days, and I have a sick child, and I've been traveling like a crazy fool. So my mind is a bit distant at the moment, more so than usual, which is really saying something. Shut up, Rob.
Now I don't need to.
I'm here for you all day, every day. Any other comments, thoughts, jokes, or concerns about remakes before we wrap this quickly passing show?
Not really. I mean, I think we kind of hit on everything. Just I was looking at the list of things of remakes that I've got coming out, and some of them I'm just like, why? I don't understand. Like the Batman Arkham collection, which I got because I hadn't played either of those games, but I can't see what they're thinking. Like, let's put these out again.
Right.
Hopefully it'll be less of a disaster this time.
Lies. It will be abysmal.
Or like the BioShock collection. That one I think there was enough of a fan request for, which it would be nice if a fan request for a Mass Effect collection would be answered. But it's not.
I was going to say, keep raising your voice, Stewie. I take it you got that reference?
What?
What? Exactly.
Are you still talking? Is the music playing yet?
The music is in fact playing. Outro is...
I need you to tell me, yes.
Yeah, well, it's underneath. I like to keep you informed. Well, anyway, everybody, hopefully you have played Titanfall and Skyrim and others that we've talked about today. We'd be curious to get your thoughts, which is always encouraged on our Facebook page, particularly while Newman is playing and you can't hear him talk, but it's totally worth commenting anyway on all the things you disagree with him on because he enjoys that. Or you can just say, Brad is a complete moron over and over and over again with several exclamation points. We like that too.
Oh, yeah. We can talk all about how many different moron things Brad does.
Seriously, is he ever coming back?
Yeah, he'll be back when he stops taking walks through the woods at night. Anyway, because apparently he does that now.
Well, you can't do it in the daytime because the light's going to mess up his herpes eyes.
Anyway, you can check us out on Facebook or on Twitter at GamerFeed Radio, GamerFeedRadio.com. As we mentioned before at the top of the show, you can check us out on all the pod streaming services that exist in the whole wide universe. But really, iHeartRadio is the only one that you should care about. But you can download us on iTunes or any Pocket Cast and a bunch of others that are out there. Pick your poison. And of course, we're always interested in and would love to have you subscribe to our YouTube page where all the shows are posted immediately following the show going live each week, 10 p.m. Eastern on Thursdays, although this one will be posted a little late because we talked too long, but what the hell ever. So, as always, gamers, until the next time we have a chance to meet awkwardly on a podcast, peace.
Peace.
Wow.